Well, silver defense in a new age of uncertainty. And I just want to remind people because, this is the whole deal with anything. Once something gets popular and everybody starts jumping on board, just like, the guy's got the motor scooter over here with the sidecar and everybody's jumping on for the ride, that's when it gets dangerous. And it's like you can't tell the majority anything, right? It's like when something's a good investment, not many people are in it because that's just human nature, right? Who would have ever expected that, the investment could have gone up that much? But it gets proven to people later when they show them the graphs and you go, look at this, how good this investment's done over the last several years. And that's when you know it's going to happen, right? Human nature. The majority often is wrong. And the majority is often wrong on a lot of things. Maybe, I don't know, on everything, but a lot of things, right? So, you know, oh, another thing, too. It's amazing what's going on with Obamacare. That's another thing. What was another thing that was a big predictor of how the economy was going to go in general? Obamacare. The ones who were for it were saying that it's going to streamline all this stuff, and I know they were full of it, though. But a lot of people that were also in the more conspiratorial side of things. Now, I do know it was more about complete total control. Another aspect of control of our lives, just like they're doing with the Federal Reserve and the banking system and taxation and all this garbage and regulation. But, look what's going on today. It's like falling apart. This cost that went sky high, so if you want to get health care, you mean you're going to have to skip the ambulance and pull your wheelchair up on a trailer and have it towed by your Harley Cruiser, to save a couple bucks. And considering you're out there in the breeze and the sunshine, you'll probably be a lot more healthier than being in a Hill the Beast ambulance anyway. So, right? Um, but you know what I'm saying? How all the experts, even on both sides, they were arguing for something, were all wrong. And that may be what the hell's going to happen with silver. You see, the one thing I think with silver's got a real ace, and Hillary thinks she's got the aces. I'm going to be talking about her a little bit here because it does relate to what's going to happen financially. Um, the aces, like everybody, they talk where silver's got an ace, though. I think is that it's got the medicinal purposes, not just to kill microbes that are bad for you and things like that, as being an absolute micros, you know, uh, microbial side, whatever you want to call it, virus side, and all that. And it also helps the body to produce stem cells when you take ionic silver. It's a little bit of a benefit. So I think that when people realize this, I mean, the whole planet's going to want at least 1 ounce. So I mean, that might be really what's going to drive silver up, and really why you should never get rid of all of it because you'll always need it for medical purposes. You want to always have, at least dozens of ounces or something just for medical purposes, right? And it might be worth some crazy amount of money at one point in time just due to that. Now, with the Hillary Clinton thing, I was looking at this election stuff a lot. I know there's going to be some major cheating going on. This is not. I'm not going down this path to be political, but I'm going down this path. Not also. I'm going down this path because it's going to have major impact on the economy. I know what the mainstream media is saying, that Trump's an isolationist, a protectionist, and free trade and all this kind of garbage. Um, but they're probably correct about one thing. I think if Trump gets in office, it's going to cause inflation. Not that he's doing it, but they're going to let the floodgates open from the dam that they've been protecting the consumer inflation index from getting out of control. And I think also Hillary Clinton she's not going to be around in this world for much longer. She's going to the place where you see the fire pit. She's got so many enemies right now. Just to tell you this, where even if I'm wrong about this election result, she's not going to be around long because of her health. But the main thing is she's got way too many enemies. Her best friends were killed and all this other garbage. So this one's history, even if she wins the election by hook and crook. But that's telling me a lot about where I think the economy is going to be going because um, they're not going to try to hold the things. The elite people are really losing control. They're not going to try to hold down the commodity prices to keep the masses all satiated and happy. That's over with. We're in the beginning stages of we're going to have this serious inflation, but not serious inflation necessarily with um, large ticket items like land, cars, furniture, appliances, and things like that. There's going to be inflation in like copper, lead, food, even energy. Now, one thing I could say though, I think if Hillary Clinton did get in, but I don't think she is. What would go up in inflation is what Annie Oakley is holding here right now would be the gun prices. But I don't think she is. I don't think she's going to make it. I don't see any comparison between Romney and Trump and Obama and Hillary, if you get my meaning. And like I'm bringing this up because I think this has a lot to do with what's going to happen with the markets short term and in the long term. Depends on who the president is because they're like totally opposite difference. One's the establishment candidate, which is Hillary Clinton, and one's the populist candidate. Before you can argue that Romney was more the establishment candidate, although I say Obama's both established candidate, but Obama appeared to be the outsider to most people, not to me. But I realized, me, I took Gary Johnson. But you see, I'm not really trying to tell you about politics here, but the reason I'm saying this is like it's not the Republican Democrat garbage. There's no comparison this time around. It looks like Trump's got extreme, overwhelming populist support compared to Hillary Clinton, despite all the major media being against him. And I think that means once he gets in, they're not going to give a damn about anything. But you know what's going to happen? Keeping the wage and the prices on it's goods that we need, like that affect everything in consumer spending. The consumer price inflation index. They're not going to hold that down as soon as he gets in office. Now, the one thing I think is probably not going to have a problem having inflation with is gun prices. If she gets in, they're going to go right through the roof. But I think he's getting in. So that's one thing. So, and you probably might need that because there's probably a lot of crazy crap coming up in the near future. Now, I'm showing this picture of a menorah because, I did mention about how most people seem to be wrong about a lot of things. And this is one thing I've been kind of mentioning a lot on my channel. And I know it's subject also in with the silver people and the gold people, the banking conspiracy with the Jewish people and the Rothschilds, or let's say the Rothschilds, not the Jewish people. But you know how the silver people talk about this stuff all the time. Now, I'm going to tell you, largely people are so freaking wrong. It's just how it is, man. I mean, and actually, I think there's a major. I'm putting this out here because I was like, I'm just getting sick of this crap because, they got the brother Nathaniel Yo-Yo out there who I think is some kind of operative. He's not real. And honestly, I don't. No one thinks all the same. I mean, you can find 50 million different things. And me, personally, I don't see a damn thing wrong with quote unquote, which people say is all bad Zionism. I'm mentioning it here right now. It just means you support Israel. Well, if you're Jewish, you need to be supporting Israel for crying out loud. It's part of what your freaking being's about. I mean, come on. And me, I'm getting so pissed off at it that I know Hanukkah's not the big Jewish holiday or anything. I know it's Yom Kippur or the new year, but it's like Rosh Hashanah. But I'm so pissed off at all this anti-Jewish stuff out there that I'm starting to go towards them, and like I really would be one if I didn't believe in Fatima, the miracle at Fatima, Portugal. I'm not really like, I'm mentioning this right now because I realize when everybody starts blaming somebody on something, they're wrong. They're wrong. I think they all got to figure it out. The internet. I'm like, God, man. Just want to throw this in here because, people right now, the general population's all wrong about gold and silver. It's going to go way the hell up. When the general population all jumps on the bandwagon and it starts going way the hell up, and you could buy, a car for a few ounces of gold or something like that, a brand new one, I mean. Well, then the general population's got it wrong, okay? And that's kind of like what even happens with, when we're talking about Jews in Israel. I mean, I don't think everybody Jewish walks on water, for crying out loud, but I mean, I think they're heads and shoulders as a group above everybody else. And that's not in saying that they're just that way. I just mean it's because of what they're really about. That's their mission, So, but one thing that people never really look at is somebody like this HW guy, and you know, he's a bad guy too. He's a Republican. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, and he's not one of the I mean, I know what people are telling me, but I'm like getting sick of this shit. I'm telling you the truth. So anyway, and all the series, this is from the Onion. The Onion. I had to mention this because this actually is, Kennedy slain by the CIA, the Mafia, Castro, LBJ, Teamsters, Freemasons, President shot 129 times from 43 different angles. Well, you know what? That's all partly true in a lot of ways. But but this is almost like what you get out of the alternative media about the financial situation, what the quote unquote elite are doing, and all this other garbage, right? But by and large, they're pretty much right about a lot of stuff, But it's just ridiculous sometimes, That's the other thing. What really will make the world fall apart is if we have a major conflict. Nothing destroys real assets faster than war. The paper economy, that's one thing. The real way to freaking wreck stuff, because, one of the things that everything's based upon is real estate, which is buildings and stuff. It's one of the prime big assets out there. You have a major conflict, boo-boo, that will freaking wreck the economy. Blah, da, da. And that's the reality of the situation. But honestly, on this channel, I don't really it seems very unusual that I have a lot of pro cause of the Confederacy videos, yet at the same time, I got a lot of pro-Israeli Jewish videos, and you'd be thinking, well, wait a minute, isn't the Confederacy all about hate? No. But you see what I'm saying is, I'm really actually, if you don't agree with me, fine, but I am not freaking trying to just play a game here and, just put out some spiel because somebody's freaking paying me to talk a certain way, because I don't play that game. And honestly, I think a lot of struggles that happened in the past were against totalitarianism. The Confederacy was against the totalitarian increase of 250% increase on tax on the cotton, and that Abe Lincoln was behind and all that. I know it was instituted right before him, but that's even a lot. If you think about what happened during the Jewish revolt, 69, 70 A.D., and the destruction of the Second Temple. Well, it was over taxes primarily too. What the hell did we even have the United States form up for originally? 1776, we declared T-tax, blah, blah. Well, in a way, we got another revolution going on here. And silver is your defense. Silver may not turn out to be exactly the way it's going to go up, the way some of these people are thinking. I tend to think that silver is going to go up due to like a widespread um, knowledge of the truth that silver is like a medical miracle, like colloidal ionic silver, a combination of those two. It's a medical miracle. And it's something whereby you can vastly improve your health and even increase your stem cell production. If people start freaking all realizing that everybody's going to want 1 ounce, there just isn't 1 ounce to go around for the whole planet. That's all there is to it. And people will pay, you know, I mean, if everybody wanted it, it would be worth big bucks. And it would be big bucks not because there's a graph someplace that says it's big bucks, but because 1 ounce could make thousands of gallons of colloidal ionic silver that it could be extremely beneficial to your health for many years to come. You know? And what that gives you is what you call medical freedom, which I mentioned Obamacare at the beginning, which is medical totalitarianism, which you should see is not working. So people are going to look for other things they could do to take care of their health. As old girl here from Gasoline Alley realizes, freedom is everything. And, that's one of the ways to be free from the BS system. Not just the banks, but also the stupid medical system, which I call stupid medical system because every time a great discovery is made, if it doesn't make a lot of money, they throw it out the door, unless there's a few honest doctors out there. That's the deal. But as in anything, it's a damn gamble, man. There's no doubt about it. And, that's really where the problems come into play because when everybody's playing gambling and everybody's throwing their dice on a roulette wheel, there's going to be winners and losers. That's all there is to it. It's not going to benefit everybody across the board. And, that's where people are missing the boat on how silver can freaking benefit you, not just financially, but health-wise. That's something that is ironclad that could be going on forever. Like when people wake up to that fact, I know the price is going to go way the hell up, despite what the freaking economy does. Just nobody's aware of it. Could you imagine if Pfizer and these big pharmaceutical people had a patent on silver? How much they would charge people for it? They'd be going, you must go to your doctor to get a gram of silver. You have to see him, get a prescription for it, and that gram will cost you $300, and your health insurance will pay for it, provided you can afford health insurance. See what I'm saying? But since you mine it from the ground, but still, there ain't enough to go around. That's why I think when you're holding silver, you're really holding the right cards. You're going to win. And no matter what happens in the economy, now I do think silver is going to go way the hell up, but I also think copper is going to go up. Food prices are probably going to go up even more than silver due to the climate changes, which are getting colder throughout most of the earth, not everywhere. And but no matter what happens, the medical use is unique. You don't have anything else like platinum, palladium, gold doesn't have these medical uses. Copper, not really. And definitely not nickel, because that's a poison, right? Only silver's the good one. So I think you actually got all the luck in the world with that. So that's one reason you should stick with it because, but the other side of it is, I think one of the biggest problems you're going to have is with the government because government's basically like a freaking stupid gang. And even if it turns out that, it's widespread knowledge that silver is, very powerful medicine, which it really is, the government would, if they had the power, they would try to control all of it. They really would. But one of the things I just want people not to freaking get down this bullshit trail because, I know like, you got George Soros, which I always call a Nazi collaborator versus Jewish, And George Soros is one of these guys against the freaking Confederate flag, right? Uh-huh. You see what the pattern here is, Whatever George Soros don't like is okay. George Soros doesn't like Israel either. He doesn't like the Confederate flag, right? As far as I'm concerned, the Confederate flag and Israel, they're both fine, you know? Um, but when I look at things, it's like people seem to like look and they say they gotta have one thing that's wrong. Let's keep it simple. And you know how they always do, right? Well, honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not Jewish, right? I'm Catholic, but I don't really support this yo-yo Pope in the least because I think the Pope is a New World Order operative to the max, right? But I tell you one thing: if I was Jewish, I'd probably be making JDL, the Jewish Defense League, look like a bunch of pussycat kittens. Because you know what, this kind of stuff pisses me the hell off, and you know what, it's like you almost think I'm going for opposite causes here, because of the Soros-funded Southern Poverty Law Center tells you that the Confederacy and the JDL are bad things and shit. Well, you know what? Nah, anything Soros says is bullshit. But you know what? I think the people that are the most righteous in the world that need to be protected by arms, too, like Annie Oakley would do, are the Jewish people. And within the silver crowd, I don't know, like this guy Max Kaiser and all this kind of crap. I mean, you know what I mean? You got all these people out there that seem to think that everything's this big conspiracy coming out of, Israel or something. And I'm like, you guys, I know, like in the case of his brother Nathaniel, I don't think it's really what you think on the surface. But I know I'm right about this, man. And it's like I feel like I'm in a minority and a half. And I know putting this out like this, nobody gonna like it. Maybe a few people will, but not many. But I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you will. But if you think I'm sucking up to Israel because of some bullshit payment or something, you got to be kidding me. When I'm putting out videos on anti, well, I don't think Israelis never freaking supported Obama big time. I can tell you that right now. It might have been somebody like, from Goldman Sachs or something, but never, not the Israelis. They didn't support Obama, and I can tell you right now, no righteous Jew is going to be supporting this woman. Not in a million years. Mm-mm. So, anyway, just want to put that out because reason I'm saying this is for another reason too. I think there's going to be a systemic breakdown in the financial system, which is going to cause a systemic breakdown in society in peace, right? Domestic peace. There's going to be strife. There's going to be all kinds of bullshit going on. And I have a tendency to think what the idiots are going to be thinking, who's to blame? You know what I mean? Like, anyway, just, so you give a heads up and just, think about what I'm telling you because, when I'm putting out a video on even like the pro-Confederate side, because I know really they fought over taxes, I mean, the people up north didn't care about slavery. What happened after the Confederacy got lost the war? Well, what happened? The Union went to war against the American Indians, right? The American Native peoples. Yeah, so much for freaking trying to help the black peoples and people of color, right? They're full of Scott Dodd, man. So, just want to put this out here and let you know this shit because, the common perception is usually wrong. And right now, the common perception about silver, the average person, they don't give a damn, They don't give a damn. If they will later, that's when you could sell it to them. But not all of it, because some of it is always going to be smart to have around for the medicinal purposes. So anyway, just want to give you an update on this deal. I think I'm expecting Well, let me just finish up on something here too. Because I'll give you some more facts. I read a lot of junk all the time from the major media too. There's been a lot of squabbles in OPEC about cutting production. So recently, the oil prices kind of dropped a little bit, right? For that reason. Now, I think they're going to have to get together and cut production, or else Saudi's going to go under. Um, and when they do, I think it's going to be very soon. Actually, I think the oil prices will really start creeping up much faster after the election, regardless who wins. But I think it's also going to be Trump's going to win. Um, but I think by the end of the first quarter of 2017, March 31st, I think silver's going to be in the mid 20s. And you might think, oh, that's nothing. Well, that's a pretty damn big jump. That is. Might be wrong, but I think that's where it's going to be. And I think oil on a WTI is going to be over $60 a barrel. So that's where I think. And then that's going to affect all the consumer spending and the net disposable income. So they ain't fixed nothing in the economy yet. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's it. So anyway, and when stuff falls apart, don't get freaking mad at somebody because they're Jewish. God, I hate to put it out like this, but I'm like saying, I already know what's going on here, man. There's so much BS out there. Even like, I got to finish this up. Even like a lot of the top black leaders that are in the country that everybody knows, they're owned lock, stock, and barrel by the white guys, including Obama. And even, and it's not like the white Jewish guys. It's like the CIA, man. Those guys were all in on protecting the Nazis after World War II. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like these people on the internet seem to think everything's so damn clear cut, and I'm like, I can't believe this shit. I can't believe this shit. It's just amazing. It's amazing. But they're also going to think it's so clear cut when silver goes up too high, and you'll be thinking, oh, it's going to the moon, and they're all going to be piling on, and that's when the majority gets slaughtered again. So anyway, that's what I'm telling you right now. Just hold tight. It's going to be fine, and don't be so too scared to sell. But I would never sell all of the stuff because the medical purposes eventually could make silver go to some crazy astronomical height that it might just astound you. But I don't know all that. I don't know when that's going to happen. It could be 20 years from now when that happens. So I mean, in the meantime, you might want to be thinking about getting something else with the silver that maybe is useful for you for many years. So anyway, that's how you play the game. You don't put everything in one basket. You don't bet all one way, especially with silver. But that's what's going to happen later on to many people, and you know it. That's just human nature, man. It can't lose. Oh, just like with the housing market. Remember that? 2006? Oh, sure. Anyway, over and out.